Have you or a loved one been affected by pignosis? Symptoms include blaming the controller, banning your own viewers, and saying, that's impossible 47 times a stream. However, there is hope. Welcome to Duty Streams, the internet's premier center for DSP analysis, memes, and emergency anti-pignosis treatment. We expose the cope, we study the salt, and we ask the hard questions. Did the game really screw him, or was it just another skill issue? Subscribe to Duty Streams today, because pignosis spreads fast, but laughter spreads
Phil only
faster.
has 2 supporters. The detractors actually believe, okay, that only iced coffee, Iron Chef Sakai, Jack's Bax Raxer, okay, every anonymous tipper, all right? Like, they actually believe that every single person over the years that has ever supported me is exactly the same person. They actually believe that there is one guy, one person, who has made every single account ever and has jumped between the accounts back and forth to support me. They actually freaking believe that. Now, is there maybe a nugget of truth in there? Of course, because that's where they get these weird notions from. I guarantee you, there have been some people who have been supporters of mine who have jumped between accounts to avoid detection so they don't get harassed by people on the internet. 100% I would believe that. There's been people who tip here and tip there under different accounts, people that maybe will do some super chats here, then give some subs on Kick, then give a tip. They're doing it on purpose, so that way no one thinks it's just the same person over and over, and no one gets a win, no one tries to research and figure out who they are, okay? But do you really believe that in any realm of human existence, this dimension we live in, all right, that there is a person who can be a full-time streamer who lives well for themselves, and they're supported by one person? If you believe that, you're mentally deficient. Because there's no way that could ever happen. It would dry up eventually. Even if there was one person who was rich and was financing someone, it will not last forever. Never, ever. It would just never happen. Think of it this way. If that was the case, why wouldn't that person demand that that person just make content for them? Right? If I actually had one supporter who ever supported me ever in history, it was one person, one wealthy individual, well-to-do, right? Why wouldn't they say, well, since I'm the only one supporting you, it was always me all along under these 100 accounts, from now on, you private stream just to me. We do private videos, private streams, you know? Why would they allow people to do public content? Because wouldn't they want to control it all? And there is absolutely no one who controls all my content whatsoever. No one. There's all different individuals who come by on different streams for different games, okay? And they support what they like. And that's why you'll even see attitudes change, where maybe someone likes a game, but then the audience kind of gets bored of it, and then they don't support it anymore, and that's okay. That's fine. That's a trend. That's a natural thing that's going to happen with any kind of content creation or any kind of business, is that sometimes certain things are popular and other times they're not. In the past, there's been certain things that I've had support for, and then it went away. And then things that didn't work in the past, and now they do. If it was all one person, how could that be possible? How could there ever be changes? There would never be. It would always be the same. And it's not. As you can see, things have changed dramatically, particularly this year. With some of the things I've implemented, things have changed a lot. So how could this all be from one person? A logical thinking human would say, well, it's not, you know, obviously. But that's the problem. These people who say these dumb narratives aren't logical thinking people. They're deficient people. They're dumb. The same people who can't understand my comment, sarcastically saying it's the end of Dark Souls 2, don't understand that it couldn't possibly be one person supporting me. Like I said, what I have done is actually set up one of the most intelligent, interesting ways to do content. Over the 18 years that I've been a creator, I never focused on one piece of content. I never became a guru or an expert, but instead I became the jack of all trades. I play everything. I can do a variety of content and entertain people with many different genres. I've gotten certain people who come by just for RPGs, just for fighting games, just for shooters, just for Dark Souls, just for classics like Super Mario Sunshine. They're here just for the particular game they like. And then guess what? When I'm not playing something they like, they move on. Maybe even for months or years until they hear that Darkside Phil is doing something they like again, and then they come back and they support. Because I've created this level of variety in my content, And because I've been such a long-running, very dedicated, very established creator who can be depended on to make said content at all times, I don't take big breaks. I don't fail to provide the content I promise. I give you what I promise, right? I'm consistent. I'm here every day. Because of that work ethic and because of the methodology I use to create content, I have thousands of people who support me. I want to repeat what I just said. There are thousands of people around the world who support me. They don't all support me at once. They come by when there's something they like, and they support what they like. And then they leave. And then they come back again, and then they leave. And that's okay. It's different from someone who's rabidly, virally popular on the internet and just has idiots opening their wallets and dumping massive amounts of stuff on them constantly because they're popular. The difference is that people know me, they like me, and they come by for what they want, and then they leave when they're not getting what they want because they're not always going to like all the content that I do. And that's fine because it's a formula that works, and it was done intentionally. When I started many, many years ago, I sat down to think like a business plan. What's my business plan here as a YouTuber, right? Because there's many different ways I could go. I could have become the FGC hype guy who traveled to every tournament and tried to cover it and covered all the fighting games. I could have been the guy who basically kind of is a sellout and tries to team up with every major company to get all games early and do promotional events and go to E3 and cover all that shit. Or I could be the guy who focuses only on one little style of game and I get really good at it. Or I could just be the guy who covers everything. After testing the waters, because if you look at my early content, you'll notice I was going to fighting game tournaments. Okay, I was testing the waters there. How profitable is this? How will this work? How many people will follow me if I do this or that, right? And so, after testing all of these different methodologies and things, I determined the course that I wanted to take was to be my own individual, not become one of these sellout shills, big happy faces who says every game is good, gets everything for free, and basically gets paid to lie, because I couldn't live with myself doing that. I can't be a fucking fake or a phony. I want to be able to tell you the truth about what I think about anything at any given moment. But also, I didn't want to just do one thing, because what I noticed is that when I focused in only on a few things, maybe like a particular fighting game or a particular style of game, whatever it may be, I started to get burned out and I started to get bored. Okay? So what I had to do is I had to find a way to balance the content so that I could get people hooked on certain kinds, let them know I was going to go back to it later, even if I wasn't doing it now, but still getting enough newcomers in for new content. There has to be a mix of new and old and different genres to make it work. It took a long time, but it worked. And now I'm established and I'm good, and I have people who come back for various things. Like I can tell you particularly right now, there's several people who are supporting me for Final Fantasy VI who haven't supported me in a very long time. The reason they're supporting me is because I'm finally playing content they wanted, and so they came back for it. And after I'm done with Final Fantasy VI, they very well might move on again and not be back for a long time. And that's okay. And it's not one fucking person. It's not. As much as these morons want to think it is, because they want to believe the only reason Phil could be successful is because of one nut job, the truth is they're incredibly jealous. They didn't put in any hard work in their whole fucking life. They have no idea how to do a business. They have no idea how to do anything in their lives. That's why they're dependent on all these other weirdos on the internet to get by and feel better about themselves. So the fact that DSP actually said something up that was smart, and I don't have to be a lol cow to be successful, and I don't have to sell out to be successful. I'm literally doing it different from almost every other person on the internet, but I'm still successful. It kills them. They can't take it. So their justification is, there's no fucking way. There's no way it's true. He fakes every tip. It's all the same person. Wrong. You're just a loser. Sorry you're a loser. Sorry about your bad luck. Hopefully your life gets better, but mine's good, and I'm having a good time. I don't care. Okay, so we got shout-outs to do. Who have people who purposefully give them subs, but it's the undervalued subs that, like, for example, Argentinian subs and other things. They do it on purpose so they look more affluent than they are. They'll get, hey, send me 20 subs, and they will, and it costs them like $4 to do so, and it makes everyone think that they just made like $100, okay? That 100% has always been a thing. People trying to look more affluent and get people to actually, talk to people about doing it. hey, can you do this for me? Can you help me out? But outside of that, which is faked affluence, okay, what would be the purpose of self-tipping yourself, right? First off, why would I self-tip myself if I could just lie about it? Because as much as you could say, you know, Phil's lying about tips. Well, you're right. You legit have absolutely no clue if any tip that I ever get is real or not. You have absolutely no traceability on it whatsoever. It could all be lies. That's a valid criticism, is that you could say, we don't know if tips are real. You're correct. I can't dispute that. Tips could be faked, right? But why would I ever fake tip myself? You already can't confirm if tips are real or not. So why would I fake it? How stupid would that be? Let me take my own money, siphon it through PayPal, send it to myself. Therefore, I lose transactional fees and I have to pay taxes on it. But then, you doesn't matter because you couldn't have seen it anyway. That doesn't make any sense at all. Insane. Insanely stupid. Again, these are dumb people. No one with a brain says this stuff. It's only the brainless. Blood Snow, thanks for 500 kisses. I'll sub if you promise not to curse so much. It's very negative. Yeah, in fact, I've cursed a lot on today's podcast, simply because I'm reacting to the nonsense of these idiots. But in general, I've tried to reduce my swearing, you know, a lot recently.